My name is Judith Russenberger. I'm an organiser with Christian Climate Action.
And what is Christian Climate Action?
Christian Climate Action is an organisation that of Christians of all denominations who have a strong passion and desire to protect the environment, particularly in relation to the climate. And we're a group of people who believe that we have to take action. So just saying that we're concerned is not enough, but we actually have to take action to make the point clear.
And why have you come along today?
Well, today I come along to St Pancras Square for the Stop Rosebank campaign. Rosebank is an oil field in the North Sea which Equinor wishes to develop to extract the oil and gas there, which, if it goes ahead, will considerably add to this country's carbon emissions and will be very damaging for the environment.
But at the moment the courts have ruled against that.
There are two stages to developing an oil field. The first stage is a licensing stage, which effectively gives the company the right to develop the site, a bit like getting, like buying a piece of land. You have the right to the land. But the second stage is about development, which is more akin to getting planning permission to build on that land. So Equinor has the first stage licence, and now they're applying for the second stage. Their initial submission was, as you say, overturned by the courts because they hadn't taken into account the Scope 3 emissions. Scope 3 is the carbon emissions that arise from using the oil and gas, not just getting out of the ground. So now that decision's been made. Equinor, who are the main developers for the site, have gone back and done their paperwork and submitted another application to the government in which they will have included the Scope 3 emissions. As yet, we haven't had a response from the government as whether they're going to approve that or not, and we really sincerely hope that they won't.
I'm Martin Hawkes. I'm the vicar of a church in East London, St Gabriel's Church, Aldersbrook. So, most recently I was at the Greenbelt Festival and I was really struck by a speaker who talked about Rosebank, and she mentioned this protest was happening. It's something I have some awareness of, but my awareness grew at the festival, and I decided it was an absolute priority to come along this morning.
How does your Christian faith relate to climate change?
I have had a fairly long-standing concern and commitment for the climate, for the planet, as part of an understanding that all of God's creation is precious and sacred, actually, and therefore our role as human beings, co-creators with God, commits us to a concern and a care for the planet and its peoples and its plants and its animals.
There are people from Extinction Rebellion here, but there are also people from groups like Christian Climate Action. What are your thoughts about that?
I'm delighted that we are, as a faith, taking seriously our responsibility, and it's great. I mean, I do know a number of people that are here who aren't Christians, but also I do know a number who are, and yeah, I think it's about coming together, committing ourselves alongside others of all faiths and none to this cause, really.
Hey, hey, Kia, ooh, ah, I wanna know, will you stop Rosebank? Are you gonna stop Rosebank?
What do you think of the political climate at the moment? Nigel Farage has said net zero is harmful and wasteful, and the Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch has said that all our oil and gas should come out of the North Sea.
The political climate at the moment around the extraction of oil and gas is very, very disappointing, and it's largely because there's so much misinformation. So you've got political parties like Reform and the Conservatives saying that we can extract the oil and gas from the North Sea and it will benefit people in this country and will bring down fuel costs. It won't. Any oil and gas extracted from the North Sea will be sold on the open market, so it will be the international price. There won't be a special cut deal for this country. At the moment, we suffer from very high electricity prices, which is because of gas. The way the electricity price is worked out means that it's, for some reason, the last little bit of electricity you generate, that's the price they pay at, and that last little bit is usually by gas, and that's why we have such expensive electricity bills in this country. Extracting all that oil and gas in the North Sea will increase carbon emissions, and that will accelerate climate change. Climate change is not good for anyone. It increases the risk of flooding, of droughts, of heat waves, and heat waves kill large numbers of people. I think this year in June, something like 4,000 excess deaths in this country from heat waves. People just don't understand the extent of the climate crisis and how much it is impacting on us, and it is impacting also on the economy. So this year farmers have struggled with drought, last year struggled with too much water, flooding, and so they're losing out, they're losing income, and it's also affecting our food security because we can't produce so much food. It also affects other businesses too, because if your premises get flooded, if they're disrupted by storms, the impact just goes on and on and on.
That's 4,000 deaths in this country, let alone overseas.
Yes, this country, yes. I mean, high temperatures they do cause death, particularly among people who are elderly or who are vulnerable because of other diseases or illnesses, or maybe things like if they're asthmatic. And also it often affects the poorer people too, because they often live in housing that's less well suited to coping with high temperatures. They often live in places where streets don't have trees, so there's no natural cooling going on. So there's also a sort of justice element to the climate crisis too, which again, political parties like Reform and the Conservatives don't bring to the fore. But the climate crisis always impacts the most vulnerable more than the rich.
Why is it important for you as a Christian to be here?
There are three key things that God asks us to do. God asks us to love God, which also means to love what He's given us, which is the whole of this world, its beauty. God asks us to love our neighbour, and that includes not just you or the person next door, but it includes all people across the world. They're all my neighbour. It also includes all creatures, all living things. They're my neighbour. And God also asks us to care and protect creation. So on three different grounds, I feel I am called as a Christian to protect the environment and therefore to take action on the climate crisis.
Are you optimistic?
No, I'm not optimistic. I think in the short term, we're not going to see any improvement. We're going to see more suffering around the world. We're going to see more extremes of temperature and flooding, and we're going to see more conflicts over things like water and resources. So no, in the short term I'm not confident, but I do believe that God is a loving God, and that God loves His people, loves creation, and that we all have within us the capacity to love in return. We just need to somehow draw on people's goodness to overcome this crisis.
So coal, don't dig it. Leave it in the ground, it's time to get with it. Coal, do it like this. Leave it in the ground, it's time to get with it. Gas, don't burn it. The science is clear and you better learn it. Gas.
One of the things that I find special about Christian Climate Action is a strong sense of a caring community. It's one place where I can go where I know I'll be loved and listened to, and that someone will be there for me however I'm feeling. And I think that's something I'd like to see the church as a whole to emulate. Last week, Christian Climate Action produced a vision document calling on the Church of England in particular, but all churches, to take on their prophetic role of speaking out about the climate, about climate injustice, and about the need for change.